everyone! Today I'm going to be following a TikTok doll OC trend or challenge. I'm going to be using this Briar Beauty doll from Ever After High because personally I think she looks the most like a doll out of all the ones that I have. I of course have to remove everything first, snipping off the rubber bands keeping this little piece in place. And also, I love how the bottom of her dress kind of looks like a closed rose. Now we can get to the actual work. First, snipping all her hair off with my small fabric scissors, making sure to cut as close to her head as possible. Once all her hair is removed and her head's taken off, I can take some needle nose pliers and wiggle them around in her head to get all the plugs of hair that's still left on her scalp. This head in particular was filled with so much glue. Usually there is some glue in there and it is going to be more than others sometimes. And I hate when it is because it all gets really sticky and then it makes my job, well, not harder I guess, but more annoying. Then I take some 100% acetone and wipe her face off with some Q-tips. I personally find that using Q-tips to get the face off works a lot better than just using a big piece of a paper towel, mainly because you can get more precision with a Q-tip. After soaking off the face with acetone, I wash it off in some water, then get right to painting. Part of the challenge is that the hair of your OC is going to be the same color as your favorite snack. My favorite snack is popcorn, so she's gonna have white hair. And I'm gonna segue straight to the face, while painting in the whites of her eyes. Well, eye. She's only gonna have one eye. And I stop here after I say I'm doing the face now to do stitches, technically all over the body. I know she's already a doll, which fits with this challenge, but I wanted to add stitches to make it look more like a sewn doll, which is probably what the challenge was implying. So I paint stitches all up down her face and down her body, her legs, and arms. Now that this stitch detour is over, I can get back to her face now. I painted a little area black and I'm hot gluing on a button. That's what I meant when I said she's only gonna have one eye. Because part of the challenge said if you have siblings, add multiple eyes, and I only have one sibling technically, so I figured it would be cool. And I'm painting her eye red, because the eye color is supposed to be the color of your favorite drink, and my favorite drink is cranberry juice. So this is going to be very, very dark red. I glue on her hair starting with her bangs first. Then I go around her scalp, laying down the wefts so that I can make them into pigtails once I'm done. I used an iron and a hot butter knife to make the hair lay down the way I wanted it to. I obviously didn't show that on camera because I didn't want to be shoving hot things around a camera so that I don't accidentally burn myself. I tie off the half of the hair that I have into a low pigtail, and then I do the exact same thing on the other side. The pigtails are going to be quite small, so I take another weft and glue it around the pigtail that's already there. As you can see, it bulks up the ponytail quite a bit and makes the hair look longer. And I didn't have any pink ribbon at the time, so I just used a bit of pink felt to tie off, well, not tie off, to cover up the wefts on her hair. And I tried curling them, but it didn't work out too well. They look more wavy than curly. Now I can start on her bangs. I was very nervous about this part because, you know, it's in the middle of her face, but I took it slow, and if you are cutting bangs, make sure you take it slow and only cut off a little at a time because you can always take away more, but you can't add it back on. To accessorize her massive hairbands, I glue little flowers onto them. For her clothes, I first start out with a t-shirt, which I use this tunic pattern for. Again, this pattern honestly makes everything a lot easier. And if you're worried about me painting this on with a purple marker, don't worry too much because it's disappearing ink. My aunt got this for me for my birthday. Honestly, one of the best birthday gifts I got. Before I sew the shirt together, I paint the edges of the sleeves, the bottom of the shirt, and the collar pink. And I don't know why I chose this pink background specifically because the paint is blending in with it. Now for the reason I love this tunic pattern, you can just fold it over and sew up the sides, then the shirt's done, because the sleeves are already attached to it. With the shirt done, I take this shorts pattern technically, and I'm going to make it into overalls. This pattern actually ends up being way too small. I go through several more sizes before I'm finally happy. But since I filmed the entire process with this pattern, I figured it wouldn't hurt. And as you can see here, yeah, it's not even big enough to get up her legs. I then made this larger size, well, slightly larger size. It just barely gets up her legs, so then I made one more iteration, which is much wider. Then I take this rectangle, sew it onto the front, a smaller rectangle, and sew it onto the back, and put straps on it. I've done this before in a previous video, but I figured I'd reiterate it. Then I take these tiny little squares and paint the edges of them pink. These are going to be pockets, and they may be tiny to me, but compared to the doll, they're quite large. I also paint the bottom of the legs on the overalls pink. I forgot to film me sewing on the pockets, but on the top of the straps, I put on these pink buttons. As you can see, I'm going for a very pink theme. And I take some shoes and start painting them white. It was now that I finally came to my senses and stuck with the blue background that I normally use, since the pink background was making everything in this video blend in with it. I had originally wanted to paint this boot pink, but I didn't like it as much as I did with the white base coat, so I had to paint over it white again. Then I painted the laces light pink, and the shoes are done. But I'm not done with the challenge yet, since the last part of it is to give her a stuffed friend. So I take these pattern pieces and cut them out of felt. If you can't tell what this is already, it's going to be a little bat. Now normally you would double up the fabric of whatever you're using to get 2 different colors on each side, but since this is for a doll, I didn't want all the extra thickness to get in the way, so I just decided to paint it, which is what I did with the wing here. And the little body just took the tiniest amount of stuffing possible. I honestly expected to take more, but you know, it didn't. It's so tiny. It was actually so tiny that it was frustrating to work with, so I don't know if I'm actually gonna do this ever again. Once the little bat is put together, I paint on its eyes. Then I decided that the ears were a bit too large, so I trimmed them up. And then, after this, the entire doll is done. I honestly don't really know what to name her, so if you have any suggestions, just leave a comment. I love reading all your comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. See ya!